young 9-year-old jumped off of the boathouse and lost his glasses at the bottom, like 20 feet down. And I called Mark. I said, well, you were like, yeah, me, man. Out there. And just worked for 2 days. Found so he can't see. So he goes, by the way, he had to lose him in the coldest part of the Apparently it's pretty cold down there. Yeah. But he found him today at Newtown. I just thought I'd mention that. I'm like, dude, you're a full service guy, man. It's so appreciative.
I had a buddy when I was living on Lakeland Road. We were out partying one day. And ladies got
all right.
and stepped on the gun.
Okay, who
Went back on Monday.
Oh.
Like, this is all
I told Davis, I thought I had a meeting set up also.
you marked it that day, that night, and knew exactly where to go. You both go down. You're supposed to stay with your buddy. You have to look. So we had to spread out, and I'm swimming on about 15 feet.
Keep them
Cold,
cold
shiny.
They get scattered pretty
Went over to it, went, I mean, I literally got this. I went back up and I was just
So anyway, so then there's a lot of stuff
waiting for him to come back up.
What's wrong with him, man? I had it in my 30 seconds.
that we can fill in.
That's pretty cool.
I said, I found it. I bet I didn't track well. They tend to 10 pounds of air. I used more going down and coming up than I did downtime.
I love Jim Walters at Janet. He can't talk forever.
I'm sorry.
Rec board.
Oh,
They
okay.
can talk.
Oh, yeah.
Shoot
Yeah.
yourself.
Yeah.
All right, I think we've got everybody. Alva? Are you
Yes,
ready?
it is like, it's 90 seconds. Yeah, it's fine.
Pardon me?
Yeah, mine's just.
Good afternoon. We'll call to order the Town of Lake Lure Town Council regular meeting Tuesday, July the 9th at 5 p.m. Will you please rise for the pledge and the invocation?
Let us pray. Father God, we thank you for the blessings of yesterday, the grace of today, and the promise of tomorrow. Thank you to our first responders and all of their efforts throughout a busy holiday weekend. And thank you to the unsung heroes in moments of crisis in our town when we have to make strong decisions to make sure that we continue the safety of our citizens and our visitors. Let us lead with discernment and grace and move forward into the rest of our season in love and commitment. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. You're welcome.
Well, good evening to everybody. We're delighted that you're here. I will note there was only one person who signed up for public comment, so when that time comes, if there's anyone who's come in later, if you'll please just come to the podium and state your name and your address, and then you have 3 minutes. Are there any edits to the agenda? There's the one. We're gonna do that one. The closed session.
Madam Mayor, I make a motion to approve the agenda as presented. Oh,
We have to go into closed session.
then I make a motion to add, item number 10 to, enter into closed session with accordance to General Statutes 143-318.11, parenthetically A3, for attorney-client privilege or legal claims. So then adjournment would be item 11.
I'll second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Then the agenda stands adopted as amended. Thank you so much. So once again, thank you all for coming. We're always delighted when there are people here. It makes it a more robust and communicative meeting. So, you know, we are about in the middle of summer now, and there have been a lot of occasions this summer and spring, and particularly in the hot weather, and when we have so many people, both people from out of town enjoying coming to Lake Lure, but also the people who live here enjoying the outside. And there have been a lot of occasions when we have had emergency incidents, when we have needed our first responders to come, and of course we always put out our call to them, and they our cavalry, and they come, our EMS and our police, and they are there as quickly as they can be there, and we are so fortunate to be able to count on them. But we all know that there is often, in the moment that it happens, there is a delay before they can get there, no matter how quickly they respond to us, and they do respond very quickly. And so it is truly a matter of life and death, what happens in that time in between when something happens and when they're able to get there. And it's happened a number of times, a number of situations this summer so far, but I think that one that is brought to mind to us really how remarkable it is. A lot of people are trained in first aid, and they're trained in CPR, and they're trained to, maybe they're trained just in general, or maybe they're trained because of their job. But you never know, do you, when you're getting that education, and even when you're practicing and you're trying to perfect what you do, you never know exactly how you're going to be in the moment. So am I going to be able to rise to the occasion? Am I going to be able to perform and do what I do? Am I going to be able to keep my wits about me? And so we would like to take this opportunity tonight to celebrate someone who demonstrated that a couple of different things, I think. She is young, 16, I believe, which is young, certainly young to all of us, I can tell you, but young. But, you know, her job is not just a summer gig to her, so it's past that, you know. So one of the things she's demonstrated is that she takes her job seriously. She knows that it is her job to make sure that people who are on the beach, who are swimming in the lake, are safe. That's an important thing to learn, I think, when you're growing up, and something you need to learn. Not everybody learns it that early. She's also demonstrated that she has presence, and because in the moment, it's not the same as practicing on dummy, is it? So we were all so impressed with what she did. We wanted to take this opportunity to thank her on behalf of the town, and to celebrate for us and for her how fortunate we are that she is here. And so if you, and I would also like to say that you don't get to that place in your life by yourself, okay? So we thank her family for helping to raise her to have integrity, and we thank Sonia, who is her guide and her mentor, for making sure that she got that guidance while she was working. So if you can come forward up here with me.
All right.
Wait, we right here. We want everybody to see.
She came in uniform too.
Yeah, she's dressed up.
And
She's
so
ready.
this is Miss.
We might need her.
And so we'd like to take this opportunity. Whereas on Saturday, June the 15th, 2024, Ms. Kelly Cobb was serving as a lifeguard at the Lake Lure Beach. And whereas in performing her duties, she scanned the water from her lifeguard stand and observed a child floating face down in the water. Whereas Ms. Cobb took immediate action by blowing her whistle, requesting that 911 be called, and quickly responded to the child to offer assistance. Whereas Ms. Cobb demonstrated bravery and professionalism when she took immediate action in a life-threatening situation. Whereas without hesitation, Ms. Cobb quickly ran to the water, swam to the child, bringing him back to the shore, where she successfully performed CPR, a life-saving procedure which saved the child's life that day. And whereas Ms. Cobb was serving in her first lifeguard position, she demonstrated proficiency with her lifeguard and CPR certifications when it mattered the most. Now therefore, I, Mayor Carol C. Pritchett, on behalf of the Town of Lake Lure Council and the citizens of the Town of Lake Lure, hereby present this proclamation to express our sincere appreciation as we honor and recognize Ms. Kelly Cobb for her life-saving actions. Proclaim this 9th day of July, 2024. Thank you.
Callie, are you 16? Yeah.
18.
All right.
You look 16.
I saw her shaking her head.
Oh, she's 18.
Yeah, she's 18.
I'm alert. We'll now move on to the town manager's communication.
All right, I'll keep it short and sweet. In the month of June, we did adopt our fiscal year budget, and I wanted to thank the finance department, department heads, and of course, town council for their efforts in making that happen. We are excited to be in the new fiscal year. Our Public Works crew, I did want to also give them a shout out because during the month of June, there was a large water break that impacted almost half the town. And they were out there for hours and hours till 2:30 in the morning, and I really appreciate their efforts. You know, with our old system, we're still battling issues, but they're out there all day, every day, improving the system. So if you see them out there, just give them thanks. They're working on it. The drain valve installation is progressing. We hope to close out work above the dam by the end of this month, and then we can focus downstream as the project continues. For the Morris Park bids, staff has been reviewing those. There was 5 in total. There was 2 that really stuck out to us, so we've been scoring them, calling their references, and now that group of staff does have a recommendation to council, and we hope to have that to them at the July 24th work session meeting. Some upcoming events between now and the next town council meeting is farmers markets each Friday from 4 to 7, of course, and that's here at Morris Park. And then the Lake Lure Olympiad will be from August 9th to August 11th. And then unless anyone has any questions, my full report is in the packet. And that's it.
Good.
All right, thank you very much. Any questions? All righty, we will move on then to next item is council liaison reports and comments. Commissioner Doster?
Yes, ma'am. Planning and zoning met June 18th. There were 2 new business items for just some review of commercial buildings on Memorial Highway, which they did approve and sent those on to Board of Adjustments. And that's all they had specifically. ABC Board met. Nothing really much to report except finances are doing very well at the ABC Board. They've had some of the biggest days they've ever had in the history of that store.
Wow.
So they're doing really well. The place looks great, and everybody seems to be really happy with what's going on. So that's all I have.
Thank you very much. And no zoning and planning?
I said it.
Oh,
You should-
Sorry.
I wasn't listening. All right. Commissioner DiOrio?
Lake Advisory Board did meet. They are reviewing policy recommendations for the September Marine Commission. Couple of things that they're looking at, very interesting, a lot of good news. You know, when you take care of the big problems, a lot of the little problems start to show themselves. And so that's kind of where we are right now, where the motorized permitting changes that we made last year have had a significant impact. And the latest testament to that was the 4th of July. We had some problems out there, but it was really manageable out there compared to previous years. So that's good news. But as we restricted access a little bit, that moved the cheese a little bit to other types of vessels that people are trying to use to get access to the lake. Specifically, and this is good news, watercraft under 10 horsepower. So a lot of people, just to get access to the lake, are going to trolling motors, smaller craft to do fishing off of kayaks, fishing off of other types of flotation, using a little electric motors. That's a good thing because they're able to fish and they're not having a big impact on the lake. Unfortunately, a lot of even in North Carolina, even a trolling motor needs to have a registration with North Carolina, and we really have not really focused on permitting that. So the policy change to make that right will be coming forward to promote people to go to that. I mean, a lot of the big fishing boats right now are a problem, scooting out early in the morning with a 100 horsepower motor. If we can provide some incentives, Mayor, to push that down to having them fish off of those smaller craft with trolling motors, I think that's a positive. So there may be a cost adjustment or something to promote that.
That's a great idea.
That area, so that's working on that. The buoy plan is out there, people know about that now. a few concerns that have come in, but when when the LAB looked at those concerns, it was pretty much, I would classify it almost as a tuning of the buoys, not necessarily a gross adjustment of the buoys, so,
Weren't you just in 25
Yeah.
words or less
yeah.
for public?
Yeah.
Don't laugh, Scott, when I say that. Explain what the purpose of a buoy is, because some people who are concerned that we're taking away buoys
Yeah.
misunderstand what the buoy's purpose is.
Right. So the buoys, in essence, form a buffer area for non-motorized and swimmers to separate them from motorized vessels that are doing water sports or transiting from one part of the lake to the other. So the buoys are designating an area for that to happen. We started out in Lake Lure with about 6 buoys back in 2006, and we migrated to 92. Most lakes in the state of North Carolina, for instance, Lake Norman, which is a huge lake, and Lake Lanier and a couple other lakes that we looked at, they are in the teens for buoys, into the single digits. We're pretty much the only lake in North Carolina that migrated buoys up to 92. But for a good reason. We're pretty constrained. We're only 800 acres, so we want to make it safe. But we had way too many buoys. And it was really, over the years, people had concerns, and the buoy number migrated without really taking a holistic look at where the buoys are. So the Lake Advisory Board set a standard for where the buoy should be, basically to have a visual line that you can see if you're swimming or in a non-motorized craft, and to mark the coves as the entrance to the coves for the buoys. So there was a reset done, reducing the number of buoys from about 92 down to what, Kathy, about 60, 65. And, but with that, people had been used to having buoys in particular locations, and there were a lot of concerns and questions that we're addressing and taking a look to make sure that the buoys are where we intended them to be. Not to change the policy, but to make sure that the buoys are placed where we think the buoys should be. And so that's what's going on with
Because I
that.
think some people, their concern about the buoys being taken away is they didn't really realize what the point of having the buoy there was. Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Sure. Oh, I'm so sorry.
Just a couple more quick notes. The Fay Nectar folks are looking at starting up a little tour boat, kind of reflective of the Renaissance era, if you know what I mean. And Vikings. Yes. Yes. You know, with a drum and everyone rowing in no, I'm only kidding. That's Ben-Hur movie. But so tour boat is being looked at, and I think that would be interesting. And we're still monitoring the non-motorized permitting. The police force has been gathering data and approaching those individuals that have migrated to the middle of the lake. Mayor, you've had that concern. They've given 43 warnings so far. I think they're done with the warnings, and they're gonna transition to, because word's out, and they're gonna transition to summons and citations, so that's where we are.
Because that's a huge safety issue for non-motorized in the middle of the lake.
Yeah, and we're looking at a possible policy change to help reinforce the notion and get the word out to those people to get out of the middle of the lake.
Perfect.
And
Adjustment?
Board of Adjustments did meet, but all the data, no trends, all the data is in the town manager's
Okay.
report.
Perfect, thank you. Commissioner Proctor?
Park and Rec met yesterday. For some reason, they didn't want to meet on the normal July 4th meeting date. We had a pretty long discussion on design for entrance signs to the town of Lake Lure. Some of our entrance signs are dilapidated. I won't go into detail on that, but at our work session, we'll talk about that. There was 144 recorded volunteer hours. That did not include a lot of the work at Weed Patch Mountain, the Carolina Climbing Coalition, or the Flowering Bridge, so there's a lot more than that. That's basically time given to the town of Lake Lure. Things coming up on July 18, if you want to help with Buffalo Creek Trail maintenance, that they meet at the trailhead there at 9 a.m. And Weed Patch Trail maintenance is 8 a.m. and I didn't write the date down somehow. Anyway, it's on the website. And the manager already mentioned that the Olympiad is August 9, 10, and 11. That's all I have.
Nice.
Oh, well, the other thing is there will be a special park meeting on the 18th to discuss the Chapter 5 of the comprehensive plan, which is the part that deals with Park and Rec.
Perfect, thank you. So once again, thank everyone as I always do, but I mean, sincerely thank everyone who participates on these boards. It's a lot of work, requires a lot of time, and it is hugely invaluable for the town since we get input that we would not have otherwise, so we appreciate that very much. We'll move on then to public comments. We have only one person who has signed up. As I said, anyone else who came in after we took up this is welcome to come afterwards, but Debbie Warren, you are first, so you get to speak first.
Sure.
Debbie Warren, 138 Yacht Island Drive. I'm just here to say 30 days and counting to the 20th anniversary of the Lake Lure Olympiad. We average about 107 volunteers from the community that help us execute and welcome. Our numbers are way up, almost double from last year. So we're expecting a lot of new folks and good folks, and we so appreciate the town and the community's willingness to help put it all together and have such a wonderful experience. We're anticipating over 1,000 participants plus their families and friends. So thank you, and there'll be more in August, so we're really excited.
Thank you.
Thanks, Deb.
Lots of
Yay.
people going on in
Thank you.
town.
That's a lot. Jeez.
Is there anyone else who would like to make a public comment? Well, we always welcome public comments, as you know, so thank you all for coming, as they say, even so. So we have no unfinished business. We were extraordinarily efficient at the last meeting. So we'll move on to new business. The first item is resolution number 24-07-
Consent agenda.
Oh, I'm so sorry, the consent
I got it.
agenda, my problem. Do I hear a motion to approve the consent agenda? as
Madam
printed?
Mayor, I move that we approve the consent agenda as posted.
Second.
I'll second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Then the consent agenda is approved as presented. And now, we don't have any unfinished business. We'll go on to new business, resolution number 24-07-09, chartering a short-term rental advisory board. Ms. Stuman.
Yep, this is something we discussed at the work session, and we've been having continued conversations on it. With short-term rentals being so prevalent in the community, there is issues that come with that, including trash, occupancy, parking. There's plenty that we could discuss, but, we thought it would be good for us to establish an advisory board, kind of like the Parks and Recreation Board and Zoning and Planning, to make recommendations on the short-term rental issues. And that'll be a good way to hear from both community members, and then we'll have a staff member working with that board as well. I think it'll be good for controlling short-term rentals in this community the way it needs to be. So this resolution does establish that board. After that, we'll update the applications to have that board on there, and then we will accept them if anyone wants to join that board.
Any questions? Do I hear a motion then?
Madam Mayor, I'll make the motion to adopt resolution number 24-07-09, chartering a short-term rental advisory board.
All right, do we hear a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And resolution number 24-07-09, charting a short-term rental advisory board passes unanimously. And I think that's gonna be a good thing for us to do.
Definitely agree.
Second item is consider approval of the new street signs.
Yeah, and I can speak to that, and if
Okay.
Dean Lindsay, if you wanna jump in, feel free to. But there are a lot of street signs in this town that are getting old and rusted and need replacement. So we plan to do that. I think Public Works has it broke out into 4 zones, so we'll be doing it in phases just for budgeting purposes. But we were looking at sign designs that are a little different from what our ordinance states. So our ordinances say that it must be green unless otherwise approved by council. So we're looking at, and I think Dean has it back there, a black sign with white letters, and that has our logo on it as well. I think they'll look really nice. It's reflective, so you should be able to see it great in the night.
Yeah.
I saw that, yeah, that's cool.
And those letters are reflective, aren't they?
Yes,
So I think that's a
everything
good thing
is,
at night when we don't have street lights, when you're on corners.
The only change is whenever it's a private road, we'll still use the same black sign, but it'll be yellow on this end.
Oh,
so
yellow
PVT,
corner.
To show PVT.
And that'll identify town-maintained roads and
Right,
everything. Instead
okay.
of right now, we have it on either a power pole or
Right.
on a pole saying
Okay.
it's private. But,
Did y'all see that?
Do you need new poles? And
yes, that's part of it. We are looking at for the rural roads in town, just going back up with either a black pole or a galvanized pole. But we were thinking about whenever we get downtown, we change over to a decorative black pole just along Memorial Highway coming through town. So it'd be
Yeah.
a decorative black pole mounted on a little concrete
Wayfair
base.
signs are black, aren't they?
And then going to the rural roads, it'd just be the pole.
Normal pole.
Yeah,
But we're looking at the cost of what one of those poles would cost.
yeah.
But it's nothing fancy, it's just a black pole, it just has it's a little bit wider base,
Yeah.
Right.
and it'll look the same at the top.
The only thing I'm concerned about that is it gonna be like powder coated or is it gonna be painted? Because we don't wanna have, poles that are cracking and peeling.
Yeah, they would be powder coated.
Powder
They're small
coated?
enough
All right.
That, like I say, before we pull the trigger on that, we would,
Yeah,
Yeah.
look into that, I don't, you don't want something that you have to
We
maintain.
don't need any more maintenance.
Right,
Yeah.
right,
well, for the decorative poles, they would be powder coated, it'd be maintenance free.
yeah.
It would be a lot more sturdier until they got hit, but,
I was just asking, the Wayfair signs, are they black powder, what's on the they seem to be holding up pretty good,
Which ones?
the Wayfair sign.
Oh, the ones from TDA? They've
Yeah.
all
it's
really
Yeah.
powder coated.
They're powder coated, yeah.
I mean,
So,
powder coat is good.
yeah,
It'll
so
go a
they
while.
prove, and if you were to emulate that, that'd probably be good.
Mhm.
Yeah, I do believe they're powder coated, the design, it's just
Yeah,
it's hard to explain, but it's just
yeah,
just call it a decorative sign,
yeah.
and it would just be in the downtown area for the roads instead of the standard galvanized pole.
Do I hear a
like it.
motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the new town street signs as presented.
Second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye. Can I ask a quick question here related? We got all that financially approved and
Yes.
Everybody's happy. Steve's good.
Budgetary is
Yeah.
we're gonna pull it out of the public works budget.
Yeah.
And, we would do the zones in town, but toward the end of our budget year, that's where we'd make a determination to how far we go.
How many signs
Okay.
are there? Estimate?
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Estimate probably 180.
Oh, okay.
Do you have a cost of that sign off the top of your head?
I think $26, I think.
Okay.
Is it 26-ish?
Just
$26.
for the sign,
Plus the pole.
plus the
Plus
pole?
plus a pole. Right now, we're,
The pole might be $20-30.
More.
And
We're-
then, it's just the printing.
yeah, we're just, okay, so we're just approving the sign right now. We're not approving
Yes,
poles
what
yet.
this will do is it'll enable us to,
Yeah, yeah.
Olivia, correct me if I'm wrong, we'll change the ordinance.
It won't change the ordinance, but the ordinance says that council can approve colors other than green. So they're just approving
So we'll
this
use
sign that's
as
presented.
Approval to use the black signs, and
Yeah.
that way all through town, every sign, whether it be private road or Lakeville Road, they'll all match.
That'll be nice. Okay, thank you very
And
much.
just let us know where you're putting Doster Drive and Proctor Drive, we wanna know where that.
We know we're Proctor Drive.
There is no dust.
We'll move on to item C then. Consider award of dredging bid and approval of dredging agreement. Ms. Stuman?
Yes, so we all know we need to get back on the dredging. We've been through the bidding process. We received one bid from Stock Construction. They're a general contracting company out of Mill Spring, I believe. So staff is recommending to award their bid and to approve the, contract that was in here. William did go through it. Everything looked fine to him in
Yep.
the contract. And they did provide me their payment and performance bond, so they're good to go. As
Yeah.
soon as this can be approved, they're eager to get going, if y'all choose to. approve
Worth,
it.
worth mentioning, very interesting, this contract. So it's really the same price for hydraulic dredging as mechanical dredging. That actually makes decision-making a lot easier, because now we have both options. But here's the kicker. if we don't find a convenient place to stick the spoils, the price will eat up our budget very quickly. We absolutely need to find an economical place because they've got in there kind of a schedule for if the trucks have to go far, how much more it would be.
Yep.
So we'll be watching for that there, town manager, if you, because I think is that the designation, is that aligned with the new permit, or can we negotiate the placement of the spoils outside of the new permit we're going after? Right, but doesn't the existing permit we have right now restrict us as to where we can put the spoils, or no?
Outside of town.
It actually does, but does not.
Okay.
So when we reached out, we can have other locations with the current permit.
Okay,
They just have to be approved by them ahead of time.
got it. So
Okay.
let's.
Inside the town
let's-
limit.
Let's start looking.
Yeah, let's identify that and get on it.
Huh?
Okay.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
that's what, because remember we were talking about that.
So the way this will work is, and this is for everyone's information, the spoils will first go to our spoils pit. When the spoils pit gets loaded, we need to move the spoils from the spoils pit to that designated location. So we really need to, and that needs to be an efficient operation because they'll call in trucks and they'll do it, and so we just, because when are we gonna start hydraulic dredging? Like,
I think if y'all decide to
Yeah.
approve that, or
okay,
this, I think
okay,
they're
so
about
that's,
ready to go.
so that, okay, to my point, so that spoils pit is gonna start to fill up here fairly quickly. So we need to get that resolved as to where those spoils are gonna go fairly quickly. And we'll be asking questions about that.
We just need to think about some spots, right?
Yeah.
We just need to figure out.
I think we have some spots.
Do we?
With them, but right now, I mean, there's two dredging pits, so,
Yeah.
one sits and it runs out, once the water's out, they take it, they remove it.
Right.
Right.
They take it back, and it's utilized.
Right. Okay. I mean, yeah, I think we just need to make sure we keep on top of what we're gonna do with it.
But I thought that was just worthwhile information.
Absolutely.
But I think, I have no other concerns.
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay. Anything else on that?
I'm good.
We'll move on then to pickleball camp
Need to-
rental
we need to
request.
approve
Do you want to approve it? Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
I'll place forward the motion. So let me see. I'd like to make a motion to approve the award of dredging bid to Stott Construction and dredging agreement.
Second.
All in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Then the dredging bid there is approved unanimously. We'll
Nice.
move on then to pickleball camp rental request. Ms. Stuman?
I'm gonna defer to Ms. Creedy on this one.
Good evening. We had a request by our local pickleballers. They have, one of their comrades, actually has a home here, a second home here, and is an official, certified pickleball player, instructor. And they would like to have a camp for 8 local people. And they would like to utilize our pickleball courts, and we have never rented the pickleball courts before, so we consulted with Parks and Rec to make sure that they were in concurrence with that idea, and they actually love the idea of monetizing the courts in order to maintain them. And so that is what you have before you, an opportunity to rent this for 2 hours for 2 days. Those dates to be determined once you consider this idea.
I was looking through it, and the monetization matches the pavilion at the beach in a lot of ways with the concession agreement from Lake Lure Tours with the monetization of it, so. You know,
That's good.
From the front side, you have this standardization of some of these smaller pieces of property that can provide us some revenue, yeah.
Right, and we looked at the rental for town hall, and so the amount that we came up with is commensurate with that. For under, 4 hours and over 4 hours, kind of as a schedule.
The only thing, the Park and Rec, that was mentioned to them, they just wanted to make sure that it was posted adequately on when it was not available to the public. schedule around that.
Yeah.
And that's a pretty easy thing to do.
And should you approve this, we'll certainly make sure we have signage at the courts to make sure people are notified when the event will take place.
Right.
Laura, just a question here. The recommendation is for this specific event, but aren't we trying to approve just the concept of being able to rent the pickleball courts at a given rate?
Yes, your following agenda item will address the rental agreement.
It's the next item.
Okay, I'm a little confused.
So we started by presenting this option to approve this
To appro-
particular
okay.
event.
No,
And
that
if you're
clarifies
in
it.
agreement with that concept, then we also have an item presenting the updated rental agreement with that
So then the only
information.
question I would have, if we're approving the concept of renting the courts, why are we approving a specific rental in accordance with that concept? Does that mean that we would be approving every?
Well, our events team would probably be reviewing any
Okay.
upcoming events moving forward.
Yeah.
I think our thinking from our events team was to make sure we had your concurrence about this,
This
using
particular one
this
as a one-time?
as our first rental agreement.
Okay,
So
okay.
this item is more about a specific thing.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
other one has more to do with changing our rental, clarifying our
the
rental
future.
policy.
Yeah.
And then were you to approve that, we would also need to amend the fee schedule.
The fee schedule, yeah.
Right.
Mhm. And as it stands now, when like the beach pavilion is rented by like Lake Lure, the Lake Lure Inn would do private events. The police chief and the town manager and fire chief would sign those off. And if it was not approved, then it comes to town council if there's an issue, or if there's
For
a
the
large
beach rental.
function, yeah. Mhm. It just as a to speak to one side or the other for precedent purposes, so.
Well, let's go ahead and
Yep.
do, here, let's go ahead with the pickleball camp rental request first, since they're separate. So do we hear a motion?
I make a motion, we approve the pickleball rental for the tennis pickleball court, $100 for 2 day, 2 hour per day, and it's 8 people.
Second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Then we have approved the pickleball camp rental request. We will move on then to consider the amendment of our rental policy. You have copies of that in the packet. I'm sure everybody's had an opportunity to read it.
Yeah,
Are there-
the only change besides the addition of the tennis courts is, we did take out, it did say that town council may approve the alcohol,
And we
suspension
took
of the
that
alcohol ordinances. Our ordinance actually just says that the police chief and town manager sign off on that, so I
Yeah.
just took that out.
Right.
Yeah,
And
that's
it'll
good.
be
Okay.
that moving forward.
Yep.
Okay. Do I hear a are there any question or discussion on that
So
anymore?
if that's taken out, they can't have alcohol out there? Is that
They
right?
can't, so right now.
Okay. Oh, yes,
The-
because that's what, at the beach pavilion, beer and wine had to be approved by fire and police chief
Yeah,
when
yeah.
we did
So
privates over there.
it's approved more by staff, and then, this just fixes it to go along with our ordinance.
Okay.
It kinda conflicts right now.
Okay.
That's a good idea, I think. Do I hear a motion?
Make a motion to approve the updated rental agreement with the inclusion of the Lake Lure Tennis Pickleball Court with a rental fee that is in keeping with the town hall rental fees. $250 refundable deposit, $100 for 4 hours or less, $50 discount rate for qualifying charitable events, town employees, $200 for 4 hours or more, a 2-day, 2 hour per day, $50 discounted rate for qualifying charitable events / town employees.
All right, second?
Second.
I'll go
All in
ahead.
favor?
Aye.
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 Then, the amendment to our rental policy is unanimously approved, and our last item, or our second and last item, is consider approval of library services agreement.
Yes, this is another one that our events team discussed. The Rutherford County Library System would like to hold a bookmobile shop, and they're wanting to do that on the fourth Friday of each month, from 3:30 to 5 o'clock while the farmer's market is in session, and then from 3:30 to 4:30 during all other months. And so included in that, they would like us to sign a library services agreement. Since it's an agreement, it came to y'all for approval.
All right,
But staff has no concerns about it.
questions? If not, do I hear a motion?
So in honor of Martha Jane that used to pay for that years ago, make a motion to approve the library service agreement.
And I'll second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Then that library services agreement is unanimously approved. So we had one amendment, and that was that we are gonna have a closed session. And so just to let you know, there will be there's nothing else on the agenda after that closed session. So you wanna take a 5-minute break?
Sure.
And then we appreciate your coming as always. Thank you. Do I hear a motion to go into closed session?
So moved.
Second?
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And we will go into closed session following a 5-minute break.
Yeah, I was a little confused, why approving to
Yeah,
do it,
well,
and then,
When I
cause I didn't wanna get into the mode of approving everyone that comes in.
Right.
Right.
Call Mr. Cross, where we don't
Yeah.
have to call him.
Right,
I want the alcohol taken out of the
Yeah,
policy.
yeah, they don't need, it's not a part of it, right?
Because that's what
But that, you know well, they will. Oh, yeah.
I do. Of course, I know you